You are listening to the 90 Days Later podcast with Anna Charles, episode 158. Welcome to the 90 Days Later podcast, where I show you how life with less alcohol is more fun than you think. I work with high achievers who struggle to drink a glass of wine without it turning into 2 bottles. I'm the one they call when they want to take it or leave it. So if you want to change your relationship with alcohol that doesn't involve counting days sober, you're in the right place. Hi all, and welcome back to the podcast. Alrighty tighty, so today we are continuing with the theme that I established a couple of weeks ago, where we're talking about the 4 craving mindsets, the way we respond to cravings. Last week we spoke about the fighter, and today we are talking about the baffled mindset. I just love the word baffled. I think it just sounds just amazing. I'm one of those funny people. I love the way words sound. Now, this mindset, this is all about when cravings seem to come out of nowhere and you just don't understand why you're feeling the urge to drink. By the way, this was me. I think out of the 4 mindsets that I'm going to talk about, I had a little bit of fighter about me, but mainly it was baffled. I think baffled was my default. It's where I would always tend to kind of end up. So if this is you, as it was me, you might find yourself asking, why now? Why again? Or why I wasn't even thinking about drinking today. So why do I want it now all of a sudden? Right? If that sounds familiar, that's going to be you today. I'm going to help you today. Right? So stick around, because we're going to talk about why this happens and how to handle it in a way that gives you control. By the end of this episode, you're going to have a better understanding of how confusion can actually be an indulgent emotion. Yes, it feels helpful, but it's actually totally indulgent. And how breaking free from it can be simpler than you think. Let's dive in. So first, what is the baffled mindset? It is when cravings hit, but you just don't know why. Now, unlike the fighter, where you're gearing up, right, to resist a craving, kind of getting into that mode, the baffled mindset is all about confusion. You suddenly feel the urge to drink, but there's apparently no obvious reason for it, right? You might not see any clear trigger. Maybe there's no stress. You're not in a social situation. There's just this nagging feeling that you should have a drink, or that you really, really want a drink. You might find yourself asking, why? Why am I craving this now? I wasn't even thinking about alcohol. Right, why do I want it now? This confusion can make the craving feel harder to deal with because you don't understand it. And then we go to something must be really wrong with me. Right? When we don't understand something, we can easily fall into the pattern of overthinking, right? And being concerned about what this means about ourselves. And that just helps to just keep us stuck. So as we did with the fighter, let's look at the pros and cons of the baffled mindset. There are some pros. The baffled mindset does give you some awareness that something is going on, even if you don't understand what that is. But this is important because awareness is key. When you feel confused, at least you are not acting on the craving without thinking, right? You are noticing that the craving is there, even if you don't know why it's showing up. But there is a pause. You are inserting a pause when you ask those questions, and that pause can give you a chance to reflect and maybe even find a deeper cause for it. So rather than the fighter, it was all about just gearing up and taking action, boom, right? When we're baffled, or at least we're thinking, we're a little bit confused. We have a pause, a moment in there. But here's the con. This confusion can feel indulgent. I referenced this earlier. And what do I mean by that? When you don't know why you're craving something, it's easy to sit in that feeling of uncertainty and just not take any action because there's no path laid out for you. It's like being stuck in a fog, right? You're not sure which direction to go in. And we might start saying things like, well, I don't know why I want this. I'm not sure what's going on, or maybe I'm just in a bad mood, or maybe this or maybe that. It can feel safe, and a sensible thing to do is to wait until we figure it out. Right? So if we're stuck, we're just going to stand still and we're just going to sit there. But the thing with this is, the reason it's indulgent is this can therefore feel safe, and we feel like we're doing ourselves a favor. But actually all we're doing is reinforcing that there is a right answer, and we just have to wait for the right answer. The net result of sitting in indulgent hesitation is that it can keep you stuck in the craving for much longer than necessary. Because here's the tricky part. The more you stay in confusion, waiting for the correct or right answer, the less confident you feel over time, right? When we say, I don't know, that actually starts to create a feeling of uncertainty in our mind. And the more we indulge in that confusion, the harder it becomes to make a clear decision about what we're going to do about the craving. So it feeds. This is one of those things where the more we say, I don't know, the more we don't know. And the more we're seeking an answer, but then we say we don't know, we kind of spiral in that. Now, it can also feel sensible to stay in this state. We don't see it as staying in the state of confusion because we say things like, I don't want to make a hasty decision. But this is the kind of overthinking that can keep you stuck. We tell ourselves we need to figure everything out before we act, and as a result, we end up doing nothing. We indulge in our confusion as it's protecting us from making the wrong choice. But what it's actually doing is keeping us frozen. Because here's the thing. Inaction feels safe. It really does. I can figure that out tomorrow. Right now, I'm just going to sit on the sofa and I'm going to drink this wine. I'm going to figure it out tomorrow. But in the long run, inaction does not lead to progress. I talk a lot about needing to understand what's going on, what's unfolding in our mind. Yes, but we also need to take action to get results, right? We need to stop picking up the drink. So we need to be really willing to still take action. And sometimes the best way to break free from this mindset of confusion is to just try something. Even if you don't have all the answers or you can't pinpoint exactly why you're craving something, you can start moving forward with small actions. Right? The moment you do something, even if it's just making a guess about why the craving's there or trying an alternative approach, you're breaking the hold that the confusion has on you. Because you see, there are two things here. We have the craving that's going on, the craving for the wine or whatever, and now we have this confusion which also has us in its grip. So let's take a moment to identify when you're in the baffled mindset. The first sign for sure is this sense of confusion or uncertainty about the craving. And here are some common signs. You're craving a drink, but there's no obvious reason for it. You start questioning why you feel this way. Why do I want this? Right? What's triggering this? You might feel stuck in the moment, unsure of what to do next. You might tell yourself, I don't know if I should just resist or should I give in? And you might find yourself overthinking or procrastinating instead of taking action. So you might, for instance, think, well, I know Anna said I'm not meant to fight it, so I won't do that, but I still don't know what to do, so I guess I'll wait until, I know what's the best approach. So how do you break free from this and stop getting stuck, right, in that feeling of confusion? The answer is actually simpler than it seems. You just want to take some action. This is a great time to practice something called disruptive action. Doing anything, even if it's a small step. For instance, if you're sitting with a craving, you don't know what to do, try doing something small like drinking a glass of water, stepping outside for a minute. Take a deep breath. Say out loud, I'm having a craving. Right? Or you could take a guess as to what's going on. Maybe I'm craving this because I'm tired or stressed. So what do I need instead? Doing anything small like this will help you to interrupt the cycle of overthinking, which is where we get stuck when we're baffled and confused. Even if it's just a small action, you are shifting the focus from the craving and confusion, and that in itself is going to help you feel more in control. And it almost doesn't matter if the small action you take, quote unquote, helps or not. It's just jolting you into taking some kind of action. Let's go through an example. Imagine you've had a fairly normal day, nothing too stressful, and then all of a sudden you get a strong craving for alcohol. But there is no immediate reason for it. You aren't stressed, you're not freaked out, and it's not your usual time to drink even. You might just be thinking, why on earth am I feeling this way? And that is where the baffled mindset will, at that point, it will kick in. And if you stay stuck in that confusion and don't take any action, the craving may become more intense, right? Because we're judging ourselves and we're saying, well, I don't know what to do. And then it feels more out of control. But if you take some quick action, like just as I did just now, stepping outside, taking a breath, asking yourself a question, you are going to start to break that pattern. You don't have to have it all figured out in the moment. The key is to move, to try something, to get out of your head, and then watch how the craving can pass without you overthinking it. So some practical tips for managing cravings with this, if the baffled mindset is your default. Firstly, you can acknowledge the confusion. It's okay to feel confused, right? The key is not to get stuck in it. I don't have to have all of the answers right away, but just seeing that I'm in this confused mindset is the first step. Secondly, try something, try anything. When you're not sure why the craving is there, take some action, ask yourself some questions, make a guess. Our brains love to answer questions. They are question answering machines. Give it a few questions to answer. Again, this is all about getting answers from ourselves. And finally, don't wait for perfection. You don't have to figure it all out before you act. You don't need to have all of the answers. Trust yourself enough to make a move, even if it isn't the perfect solution. One of the things I say again and again is that where a lot of people fall over in trying to change their relationship with alcohol is they make some moves and they expect it to be perfect and to stick immediately. But we are humans, right? Well, we have habits. We might have a drinking habit established here. It's going to take some time to change that. And the way you get better at something is you need to be willing to be really bad at it, perhaps for a long time. So don't give up. You only give up, you only quit, you only fail when you give up entirely. So that's it for today's episode on the baffled mindset. If you feel yourself feeling stuck in confusion, remember that taking any kind of action, no matter how small, is the way to start breaking free. And by understanding that confusion is often just an indulgent emotion, right? You can stop it from holding you back and move forward to a healthier way of handling cravings and therefore changing your relationship with alcohol in a way that is going to stick. Next week, we're going to talk about the narrator mindset, where your inner voice may be talking you into cravings. Oh, that one is good. So be sure to tune in for that. All right. Thank you so much for listening today. If you found this helpful, please do share it with someone who might be feeling baffled by their cravings. And as always, if you want help, if you are ready to make the move now, you're just going to, for once and for all, change your relationship with alcohol, to be able to take it or leave it. I'm your gal. I help you with this. Go to 90dayslater.co and book yourself a free call with me. Just that call will change your life because you will come away with answers. You will know what it's going to take to get you to where you want to be. It is so good. It is the best gift you can give yourself. I genuinely believe that doing this work will change your life. I could not in a million years have imagined I'd be doing this coaching thing that I love so much, and it all came from just throwing off the shackles that white wine had for me. And now I get to have this wonderful life that I could never have dreamed about, completely free of those cravings. So if that is what you want, do reach out to me. I get it. I understand it. You're in good hands. Thanks so much for listening. I will see you next week. If you like what you're learning in the podcast and you want to take the work further and achieve total freedom around alcohol, let's talk. I help my clients stop reaching for that first glass of wine the moment 6 p.m. rolls around and they don't miss out on life. Email me for more information on anna@90dayslater.co. And if you did enjoy the show, I'd really appreciate if you'd leave a rating and review to help others find the 90 Days Later podcast.